Oh, I do not want to read this right now. My mouth drops open. That's such an awesome answer. I'm very annoyed. I'm like deeply annoyed. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Emma. I'm very happy you're here because this is probably no. This is the favorite book series, video series that I do on my channel. This is Read It or Yeet It, folks. This is move it or lose it. And I'm so happy you're here. This is my version of Read It or Unhaul It. And last episode, in episode 6, we made the most progress we have ever made on the big stack of books that I have brought into my home, of new books that I bought or received. And every time, I've been trying at least, every time I acquire a new book, I need to at least read something or rather take something off of the shelves, like unhaul something. In last episode, we got our stack down to like 3 books or 2 books? It's been a while since the last episode and we are back up. Do you want to know how many books are in the pile now? I'll give you a second. If you said 34, you get a prize. Did anyone say 34? You probably didn't. That's insane. Lots of things have happened. We've had Christmas book hauls, we've had gifts given, we've had gift cards used, and we're up to 34 books to somehow get back on the shelf by unhauling some things. However, this episode has some new rules, the same old faces. It's just me. I'm sorry. It's just me. But I'm really excited to give the new rules in this video a try because they're your suggestions, and I love your suggestions. I love incorporating them, so thank you very much as always. If you have any suggestions or anything you want to see in the Read It or Yeet It videos, please leave them down below. Calcifer just took the cushion I was sitting on, but if you are unfamiliar with how this works, we pick a little slip out of this mug here, and on this slip is the title of a book on my shelves that A, has either been there for too long, option B, I've heard some smack talked about this book and I'm a little bit wary if I'm even gonna like it anymore, C, I've been staring at this book for a long time, dreading reading it, is it a hidden gem or is it just trash I'm not gonna enjoy, or finally D. There is no option D. I covered them all. All right, while I sumo squat, I think those are actually all the rules. If I read a book and I like it, I put it back on my shelf. If I read a book and I didn't like it, I get rid of that. And then we get to put a book from the 34 pile book stack back onto the shelves. Like I said, there are some new rules in this video. They're not very complicated, so I'll tell you them later. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. This is like the spring clean edition of Move It or Lose It. In this episode of Read It or Yeet It, not only did I want to do like a spring clean or whatever this magic is that we work in every episode, because it does feel like a spring clean with every episode of Read or Yeet, but because it actually is spring right now, it would be a good idea to do a little bit of a spring clean in this vlog as well, like a traditional spring clean, because for the past like week or week and a half, I've been taking just like 10, 15, 20 minutes every night, and I've been cleaning, decluttering, and going through like a little niche of my apartment every night, seeing what I have, what I can donate, what I can give to my friends and family, etc. And so I thought it would be fun to include a little bit of that as well. Last night I actually did my vanity and like the cupboards in my bathroom, went through, saw what I owned, and also did actually a little bit of a reshelve or like shelve in there as well, because I have some new makeup and skincare products to show you, and I'm very excitedly working with Merit on this video, and so we're gonna be sitting down to do our makeup together this morning before we crack on with our reading. I'm going to show you what I've shelved in my vanity and show you my new favorites that I've been loving. All right, the first trick I'm going to pull out of my magic bag is Merit's Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. I heard people talk about this before working with Merit, and let me say that their praises were merited. Okay, this is fantastic. Putting this on in the morning and definitely literally right before I do my makeup, because this is such a great primer or first step before putting on your makeup. Yes. First step done. This next product has been a lifesaver for me when dealing with my arch nemesis, hormonal acne. This is Merit's The Minimalist. It can be a foundation, it can be a concealer. Mine is in the shade Dune. I am Paul Atreides of Arrakis. Okay, today I am feeling full coverage, so we're gonna go for it. It's time to blend. you have oily skin or acne prone skin like me, I found Merit's products are so good because they're all non-comedogenic, meaning that they don't clog your pores, and they're all also vegan, cruelty free, and they're made with sensitive skin in mind. Okay, next comes one of my favorite parts, which is highlighter, because it makes me feel like a little fairy. This is Merit's Day Glow Highlighting Balm in the shade Kava. Okay, come here for a second. Beautiful. This one I just like to pat out. These products as well have obviously been super convenient because you can't mess them up. They're so easy to apply. The way that the Minimalist just sits and soaks into my skin after putting on the instant serum, man. The last thing I'm gonna do for skin is apply their Flush Balm. This one is in the shade Bespoke. It's a lovely, deep, rich, creamy color. I really like that color. That is a nice color. Next thing I'm gonna grab is just staple simple black mascara. Whenever I put makeup on, I'm honestly usually in a rush to take it off as soon as I can because I can just like feel, do you know what I mean? Like I can just feel it sitting on my face. However, honestly with Merit's products, like no, they're so lightweight. It feels like I don't have anything on my face. It's incredible. It is so nice to not feel your makeup all day long. The way that it sits on the skin is just so comfortable. And finally, for my favorite part, it is their lip products. I really do love them. They sent me a couple of their lip liners, which are wonderful. Which one do I want today? Today I'm gonna go with the shade Coupe because I think it matches my blush a little bit more. And then last things last, this is probably my absolute favorite maybe. This is their tinted lip oil in the shade Taupe. Okay, voila, the look is done. I'm ready to go about my day. If you guys would like a spring refresh of your makeup, or if you would just like to give Merit a try for yourself, I will leave a link in the description, or you can also scan the QR code on screen to get 15% off of their exclusive sets. And with every first order as well, you will receive a free makeup bag. It is their signature makeup bag. It's also a lovely corduroy texture. Let's go see what else we can refresh. I'm so excited. I haven't done a full episode yet this year, which is crazy. I feel like it's been too long, so let's get into it. We have new rules, new players, new contenders, better ingredients, better pizza. The great work that was done last episode where we basically whittled down the stack of books that we need to get back onto the shelves. We had that down to like 1 or 2. Unfortunately, books have been bought this year, and so we're back to this stack plus another stack right here. The new rule for this episode was actually a suggestion from people in the comments, either on last episode or the one before, but I think we're not going to do it in this episode book by book. I think we're actually going to do it by the number of pages read. Whatever number of pages I read, whether I end up ultimately keeping that book or yeeting that book, I can then pick the same amount of pages from stuff in the pile to put back on the shelf. We're gonna give it a go. It's an experiment. I love incorporating any suggestions you have. If you have ideas for the series, if you have new fun rules you want to see, if there are challenges you want me to do in the series, I love making this a little game. As per usual, we do have some last minute latecomers that I need to show you because I was recently at my parents' house, and at their house they have a bunch of my books still. And so I've been slowly bringing them back home. And so we have some that need to go, they're actually this pile right here. We have some that need to go on my shelf because they're books that I've read. And then we have a couple that I'm just going to add to our mug because I'm really uncertain about them now. So let me grab those. 2 that I'm going to put in the jar to potentially pull out and have to read in this video. We have One of Us is Sleeping by Josephine Klaugart. This one is translated from the Danish by Martin Aitken. I've had this for a number of years. It's actually a gift from a viewer. Thank you so much if you are here right now. Are you in the room with us? This one I have put off for years simply because the subject matter of the book looks like, I don't know if emotionally I'm gonna want to read this or gravitate towards this because this is about a narrator whose mother is dying of cancer. However, it does say it's a deeply poetic novel that works in the same vein as Anne Carson, and I love Anne Carson, so I'm gonna put it in. We're gonna give it a shot at some point, and yeah, this is a really beautiful copy as well. This is a very old, beautiful looking book. So cool. Look at that. So flippin' pretty. This is Vivia, or The Secret of Power by Mrs. Eden Southworth. We've got the mug, a bunch in it, if you can see still. We've got a good amount to get through. Okay, I have pulled this one. Whatever could this be? What does that say? The Adventures of Amina Wait, this is actually really good because I think this is a pirate book or like on the ocean, like a fantasy ocean book, and that's all I want to read right now. So this could be a gift. I have about 10 seconds to tell you about this book before I get accosted because I have Kelsford's favorite little piece of garbage that he loves to play with. We have The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. See, look at the cover. It matches my nails so good. Look at the cover. This is all I'm in the mood for because I'm reading Moby Dick right now. I'm also reading another epic fantasy right now with a lot of dragons and water, and this is what I want to read. I think I put The Adventures of Amina in here because I've had this book for 3 years now on my shelves. I haven't been totally drawn to it, however, I now am, so this is good. Also, I did not enjoy Shannon Chakraborty's first book that I read from her, which was The City of Brass. I actually DNF'd The City of Brass, so that's another reason why this is here, but let's see what this is even about. After a storied and scandalous career as one of the Indian Ocean's most notorious pirates, she survived backstabbing, princes, several husbands, and one actual demon to retire peacefully with her family. But when she's tracked down by the obscenely wealthy mother of a former crewman, she's offered a job no bandit could refuse: retrieve her comrade's kidnapped daughter for a kingly sum. Yet the deeper Amina dives, the more it becomes alarmingly clear that there's more to this job and the girl's disappearance than she was led to believe. Honestly, I hope I really enjoyed this because this is literally everything that I am in the mood for right now. This book is 477 pages, so if I read all 477 pages, I get to put on the shelf 477 other pages. Oh wait, only if I unhaul it, right? Or should I be able to put on no matter what? I have done some of my closet. I already organized like those two boxes up there, but this box I haven't gone through yet, and then I have all of these over here to go through as well. Through and spring clean through this box. I think in here I have a lot of like stuff that I was using when I had my P.O. box open. So we're gonna see what's actually in there and what I'm actually gonna keep. 159 pages through this book, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts. I actually did also find an audiobook on Spotify that I'm listening to. I highly recommend it because I'm really enjoying the audiobook narrator's performance, her voice, and also because this book, I really like the way that it's set up. Like, I like the narrative style of it because we start with like a scribe or a guy who's a journalist, and he's like, I want to get the story straight about Amina because as a notorious like pirate captain, so many things have been said about her. There's been so many legends about our character, so much scandalous gossip and crazy things being said about her. Not all of them are true, but also the way that her story has been marred and disfigured and pieced apart simply because she is a woman. The scribe is like, I want to tell the real story, and so he sits down to interview Amina and like ask her about her adventures and one of her biggest last adventures, I guess, that she's been on, which is the tale told in this book. But the way that the audiobook does it is really fun because there's like insertions in the narrative of like, most of it is Amina telling her story, but then she'll say something like as an aside to the scribe who's interviewing her, like little remarks and stuff like that. And when she does that in the audiobook, they like muffle the mic and make it sound like she's like turning aside to someone, and it's just really well done. It's really funny because the asides are quite funny, stuff like the scribe might be embarrassed about or things that might be a little bit inappropriate, or yeah, it's funny. So anywho, our girl, Amina, she is a mother, she is in retirement, but she's also living in hiding because there are a lot of people from her quite notorious, scandalous pirate life who might be wanting to do her and her, I think, 10-year-old daughter harm. So she basically lives out in the middle of nowhere in a crumbling, rundown house. That is until one day this elderly woman tracks her down and she's like, I need you to go and find my granddaughter. Like, I've heard the stories about you, I know what they say about you, they say you're like a really great tracker, you find things, you're a Hufflepuff, blah blah blah, and I need you to go track down my granddaughter who was kidnapped by a Frank. Because I think, I'm not quite sure yet, but I think this is set around the Crusades, I think the later Crusades. perhaps, or like after the Crusades have finished. I'm very interested, and there's a ton of research that has gone into this. So Amina reluctantly agrees because she's been offered a huge sum of money, and this would really help like her daughter, her family be safe and be able to live a good life. Basically, this is a kind of getting the band back together story, because she goes and hunts down friends from her old crew that she hasn't seen for like 10 years and gets them back together to go and find this granddaughter who has been kidnapped. There is more than meets the eye in this quest, because apparently this Frankish guy has been asking questions about Amina herself, looking for her. Maybe something to do with the supernatural, just maybe. Also, there's maybe something going on with Amina's daughter. So far, the writing has really not gripped me. Like, I think it's the same feelings that I had while reading The City of Brass. I'm just not entirely there, and it's a little bit boring to me, actually, just in terms of how the story is being told. Aside from the really funny, like, asides to the interviewer and everything like that, I really like that. It's really funny, and I wish that featured more in the plot or the narrative, because they're very few and far between. I'm just not loving it. I feel like I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it. I feel like it is ultimately going to be very predictable, and I feel like it's a book that, even though I'm only 150-ish pages through and it's almost 500 pages, I just feel like I can see exactly where it's going, and I can like play out everything that's going to happen. Not getting a ton of the imagery and the atmosphere that I wanted from this yet. Maybe there'll be some more, but yeah, as for right now, The Adventures is just fine. It's just fine and good. However, I'm really not in the mood to read that many more fine and good books. I'm not going to DNF yet. I'm going to see where it goes a little bit further. I do really love following older characters. I have really been craving in the books that I've been reading following characters who are older than me, sometimes much older. That is kind of the people at this point in my life right now that I want to be reading about. I'm a bit sick of reading about young adults and teenagers and people my age. I just do not want to be reading about them. I do want to be reading about older people. We are just about to set out to Mogadishu in Somalia. That is where our ship is heading right now. So I will read a little bit more and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so it is a little bit later, but I think I ultimately am going to DNF this. I think I'm going to put this down. I made it 174 pages through The Adventures of Amina, and it's just not gripping me. I'm just not super into it. I'm not loving it, and almost 200 pages in, and we're still like getting together like the main crew, and we're still like setting up the plot and everything, and I'm just like tired of it. Like, it's fine, and honestly it does have a very high rating on Goodreads. So many people love this book. So many people love The City of Brass as well. I just am not, like, I just don't want to be reading another okay 3.5 star book. I just don't want to be doing that, to be honest. I really wanted to make it my mission this year to only read like books that I'm absolutely like kind of obsessed with and loving, and so yeah. Also, this is a pretty long book. This is a pretty long book to devote like 500-ish pages to and then not love it. So I think The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi is going to be our first yeet, our first lose of the video, and our first unhaul, which means we're going to be able to put at least 174 pages worth of books from our pile back onto my shelves, which is nice. I'm going to see what we have, and then we will pick our next read out of the mug, but I'm probably going to do that tomorrow since I am getting a really big tension headache right now. So I'm gonna put this down. You know what I just realized last night when I was drifting off to sleep, like literally right before I fell asleep? I remember my last thought was like, wait, I don't just get to put back on my shelf 170 pages out of this stack. I get to put on all the pages that were in this book. Like, that was the whole rule. I don't know why I was like, I only get to put on the number of pages that I've read of the book. If I unhaul the book, like the whole challenge was supposed to be I get to put on all the pages that I unhaul. So instead of only putting back on 170 or whatever pages, this beautiful sun's coming out, we get to put on, let me find it, 470 pages back onto the shelf of stuff from the stacks, which is so cool. With 470 pages in mind, I think that's going to be quite a few books. So I have our stack here. I always like putting on the books from here that I've read first, so I don't think I've read any of these yet, but I have read Split 2. So this one is 189 pages. which is good, which means we can get this on the shelf. And then another one from the stack that I read is Pet Sematary. I actually have a whole video about Pet Sematary if you want to check it out. They just smell so good. And Pet Sematary is 395 pages. That's not gonna work. I also did read Places Far from Ellesmere. This is another short one. This one is 143. So we can at least get both of these on. And then, what else do we have on here that I would really like to see some of these Star Wars books get on, either like Heir to the Empire, or I would really like to see this gorgeous copy of Revenge of the Sith get on the shelf. This is 332 pages, so we can at least do 100 more pages. Put on the Glacier's Wake. This is a poetry collection, and this one is 71 pages. I can put this little kid's book on as well. 30 pages exactly. Okay, if my math is correct, I think we can get at least all 4 of these on the shelf. I would make this trade. Ignore the hair. I don't know what's going on. I'm going swimming tonight, so I'm just not gonna, just a little fried right now. Anyway, with those 4 books on the shelf and this being 470 pages, and those, what I put on the shelf totaled to 433, we actually have now a surplus of 37 pages. Book number 2. And I hope it's a good one because I would really like to read something I enjoy. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna find a treasure this time. Okay, you wanna pick? Okay. I got this one. Is that upside down? But Rites? Burial Rites. Oh, I do not want to read this right now. Okay, I pulled Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in the mood for this at all. This is set in Iceland, and I wish I pulled this during the winter. I mean, maybe I should put it back for the winter, but I mean, I don't know when it's set in Iceland. It could be in the spring or summer or something, but this is also very historical, which, yeah, I don't know. The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, I think because there's like a fantasy element or a supernatural element, it wasn't like historical fiction, but Burial Rites is very much a retelling of a certain event in history. It was the last execution in Iceland, I think a public execution, about Agnes Magnusdóttir, who is a real woman who existed and who was charged and condemned for a crime that she may or may not have committed. But to me right now, that does not sound like a book I want to read, to be honest. Also, I think I'm like slowly realizing with my reading taste that I'm usually not a fan of people taking something historical like this, like a historical event, or like imagining the lives or life of one person and then just like, you know, kind of running with it and being like, this is everything that happened. I'm assuming, you know, this is well researched and, well, I'm assuming, and there's been, you know, due diligence done, but I think just like, I'm not really a fan of that anymore. I think I was so disappointed when, for example, I read Mr. Dickens and his Carol, which is just like a little bit of complete nonsense about how Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. Books like that just really, I think, put me off, like authors choosing a historical figure or an event and then writing so much about it. I've learned that like for my taste specifically, at least, I would rather read just like nonfiction about it and I can do the imagining myself. I don't need someone else's take on it to fill me with kind of that emotion. I would rather just do it myself and like imagine it myself. So I don't know if this is going to be the case, but we shall give it a go. I might try and find an audiobook again. So I'm only 15 pages through this right now. I think I'm gonna DNF it for now. I read 15 pages and I also read a bunch of reviews and everyone was like, this is a winter book. You should read this in the winter. You gotta have to read this in the winter. And it's not the winter. It's not the winter. So I think I am gonna put this down for now, and I do want to give it the best chance I can at enjoying it. And you guys know I love reading my winter books in the winter. So I'm gonna put this down. I'm not gonna DNF it. I'm not gonna you know, count it towards anything, obviously. I'm just gonna pull another book out of the jar, and we're gonna save this for our next winter episode. I should have included this in our last winter episode, which was the last episode of Read It or Yeet It I did, but yeah, anyway, that is Braille Rites. Please do let me know your thoughts. I would love to know if you think I would ultimately enjoy this or not. I'm gonna go for like one on the bottom. Oh, I got two. I'm gonna go with this one. Seven Citadels. Yeah, I'm kind of actually pleased about this one. I have been wanting to read this and get to it and see, because I always see this cover on my bookshelf and I always just like giggle at it, and I want to see what it's actually about. Let me grab it. What is this? I can't tell you how purple it is, and like the Photoshop on the eye is insane. I don't know if you can see what they've done. They've just like put a purple shape over this man's eye. This is Seven Citadels, Prince of the Godborn by Geraldine Harris. It's still in here, so I will read it, but if I do. I mean, everyone does. Can I help it? I try not to. I will judge the book by its cover, but I will then make sure I read it and judge it by its contents. But yeah, seeing this, I probably would have never picked it up because the cover is just, wow. I love these books. I think this is a series, and I'm determined to make movies out of this YA fantasy series. I'm trying to raise awareness. It's a 4-book series. I hope you'll read the first and maybe review. And this is a gift from Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. I am going to now review this. I have so many questions. Okay, so here is what Seven Citadels is all about. In the first part of Seven Citadels, Prince Koresh, pampered favorite son of the Emperor of Galkis, and his half-brother Ferolkin, are sent to find 7 sorcerers who each hold the key to a gate. Legend says that the 7... Oh, we've already got a typo. Legend says that the 7 gates imprison a savior who alone can save the embattled Galkian Empire and its Godborn rulers. There's a lot going on here. In the dangerous world beyond Galkis, Koresh is forced to depend on his soldier brother. The prince soon discovers something that will make their quest much more difficult. If a sorcerer surrenders his key, he also gives up his immortality. When the first sorcerer turns out to be a benevolent philosopher king, the brothers begin to question whether the cost of saving Galkis is too high. Oh no. It's in like Times New Roman. I think this one is gonna be a journey. I don't know about this. I don't know. Okay, so I am confused. This book has made me confused. I'm a little bit confused in terms of my own feelings for this. So with Seven Citadels, we are 82 pages through. To be honest, I didn't think I was gonna make it that far, but here we are. And I do have a better idea of what it's about. I am a little bit baffled at this printing of it because now that I know more that it's like a YA fantasy from the 1980s, I just have a little bit more context for what I'm actually reading. However, I don't know if it's just this edition, because really, I don't know, it says on the back as well that this is the first edition to print the author's preferred text. I don't believe that the author's preferred text would be one with so many typos, or one set in Times New Roman, which, like, Times New Roman for fiction? No, disgusting. However, that being said, I am 82 pages through, and there's some quality about this that, like, I kind of just want to finish it and keep reading. This is book 1 in a 4-book series, however, so this is huge setup, and because it's a fantasy book from the 1980s, it is just, like, so different. I think it just, like, is not the formula for today, obviously, for fantasy novels, but I am just a little bit, like, there's not a lot of scaffolding in it, so to speak. Like, there's not a lot of setting you up for the fantasy world. There's not, like, a ton of lore dump either, though, or info dumping. It's just kind of like you're there with the characters and they're talking like you already know everything a little bit, which is nice on one hand because I don't want massive info dump. On the other hand, in a fantasy book like this, I just feel like not a lot is being properly, like, described. I'm not sure if it's like the author herself or if it's just this edition, but whoever's writing it or whoever's copying it cannot for the life of them use a comma. Like, someone is against use of all commas. A lot of the sentences, particularly towards the beginning of the book, again, I kind of just felt like I was, like, having a lapse in my brain because I'm like, what did I just read? A lot of the sentences don't make proper grammatical sense, which is a bit disappointing. I mean, no, not a bit. That's how you've disappointed me. However, I will try to tell you what it's about. It's very like vague in its descriptions. It does kind of feel like generic fantasy. I'm just gonna call things different names and we're not really gonna describe anything. I'm just gonna be like, oh yes, the desert of Zagata and the swamps of Moda. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, it's kind of like that. God in this world is named Zeldin, and way back when, Zeldin mated with a human in the world, and now he has left the world to the Godborn, who are the offspring of a god and a mortal woman. Again, I feel like this is something I've seen so many times. The Galkian Empire is ruled over by the Godborn, who are all these people, offspring of the god, and immortal, who have purple eyes. They maybe have some kind of power. We're not really sure, but they are in the positions of power. However, after years and years of the Godborn being in power, they have just become incredibly corrupt. They're not really following their religion that well anymore, and everything is just kind of decaying around them. The other kingdoms surrounding Galkis are forming alliances. There's threat of war, and everyone in Galkis is just like power hungry for each other. It doesn't help as well that like they're all from the same family, so like members of the Godborn all rule different like provinces or territories, and they're all continually fighting each other for like to one up each other essentially. So in this decaying world, the Godborn, the God fallen, I guess now, we have Karish, who is a young prince. He is one of the sons of the Emperor of Galkis. He is, I think, this guy on the cover, although like he is very much more of a kid than this cover would have you believe, and he is trying to find his place in the world, if he's going to be given one of these provinces to rule, what he's doing, where he fits in with the rest of his family. Some of them are just snakes, some of them are not very nice. However, Karish is just, I hate this guy. I hate him so much. He's so annoying. He's just a little baby. Like, he's just a baby, and he cries and whines about everything, which I guess does fit into like his position and the world and culture he's born into, but he's so annoying. He's like Anakin in Attack of the Clones. Like, he's like that kind of crybaby, annoying, wants to get his own way. He's incredibly spoiled. He also, however, has a half-brother named Farolkin, and Farolkin is kind of Karish's opposite. Farolkin is kind of like a little bit of like a Faramir-Boromir situation. That's like the closest thing my mind has grabbed onto, and is now just imagining them that way. So Farolkin is very much the Faramir character. He's like the least loved brother. Turns out what they're gonna do is go on an adventure with each other to hunt down the 7 gateways, 7 sorcerers, because each of these 7 sorcerers has a key, and these 7 keys will open a gate that will free the savior of Galkis. And he'll basically like save the empire out of the clutches of the corrupt Godborn and like restore peace and harmony and rule and all of that stuff. So that is what Karish and his brother, half-brother Farolkin, basically volunteer and like accept as their quest to go and do during this time of hardship. I don't know why I want to keep reading, to be honest, because the amount of typos, the amount of like no use. Okay, someone has banned the use of the comma, so the sentences don't make sense, and also there's a lot of like stuttering and stammering when people are nervous, but the way that it's represented in the text is just like making the word longer by adding more letters to the same word. So if someone's like my purse or something, it'll just look like MMMMMY purse. I don't know who made these decisions. However, I am finding it very readable nevertheless. I can't tell you why I want to keep going with this, because I think ultimately if I did read it to completion, I probably would never reread it, would never want to continue on with the series, and I would probably unhaul it. So I don't know why I'm not just stopping at 82 pages through, but I just kind of want to read a little bit more, because so much of the book, like pretty much all 82 pages, has just been set up for Karish and Farolkin to embark on their journey, and now they've like just left. So we're also told early on that if these 2 young boys, I don't know how old they are, I think they're like 18 each maybe, if they accept the quest, we know that one of them is gonna die. We know that one of the brothers is gonna die, but we don't know which one. It's also really interesting just to read as like a historical novel, if you will, just like as a piece from the 80s, as someone who obviously was not around and kicking in the 80s, just to like see what fantasy was up to in the 1980s. I think that's really interesting, and what we were discussing, what we were talking about, what the books were looking like. I always think that is really cool to get a little bit of an insight into. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going with Prince of the Godborn a little bit more, and I will update you when I've decided to put it down, or if I just finish the whole thing, because like it's also very quick, very, very quick to read. I don't know. I'm actually on page 106. So I did make it past the 100 page mark, and I don't know what to do about this. Feeling dimly attached to the characters and their fates. I think number one, I'm just really liking the ideas in this book, not so much the execution. In fact, I wish there was so much more world given to me and time spent on these things. It feels slightly rushed. I really do enjoy the idea of like this very corrupt cast of characters, and can anyone save them from their awful ways? Okay, apparently we are in the garden this fine day. My memory card blacked out last night. I do remember thinking that the reason I didn't want to put this down, because like this just feels like the best palate cleanser after reading Moby Dick, and like still reading Moby Dick adjacent to other books. Like this just feels there is the most beautiful, biggest heron flying through the sky. This just feels like the perfect snack break with my reading. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just like very unlike what I'm reading, and it's so strange that it's just kind of working as exactly what I am needing right now. Anyway, after I gave you that update last night, I did end up like literally almost finishing the book. So we're just gonna finish this regardless of whether I keep it or not, because like I said, something in Prince of the Godborn is just keeping me intrigued enough. I think I was telling you that I was really liking the cast of characters. Now that we've left that abode, I do feel a little bit less interested, because Karish and Ferolkin have embarked on their journey, and so they've left or are leaving Galkis, like their kingdom. I really did want to stay with the family because it was so interesting how like they're all just kind of vipers and everyone is kind of plotting against each other. That being said, I do think the fantasy elements are just a little bit like we're just plopping in random words for fantasy things. Like we have like Zindar, Zeldin, Zoloka, everything is just kind of random fantasy words. Like that's what it feels like. However, sometimes there are some really great lines where I'm just like, okay. The Emperor is Karish's father, and he says, "Will you have nothing then, for fear of losing everything? Take pleasure in nothing, for fear of it turning to grief. How can you bear such emptiness? I would rather have grief than never know joy." Or Karish says that to his father, actually. So sometimes there's like cool things going on. Anywho, they have embarked on their journey to get the 7 keys from the 7 sorcerers, which again is just like a very random quest, so it doesn't feel like there's a bird right here. You guys scared it away. You weren't stealthy at all. Do you see how much noise you just made? They are crawling around on their bellies like snakes. Well, he's gone, Cal. Maybe he'll be back. You have to be sneakier next time. I'm very conflicted about it because I'm just like confused about my feelings for it. I'm like, do I want to keep this? Do I want to read this? I don't know. I'm 166 pages through, so I literally have like 20 pages left exactly. So we're gonna finish this and then I'll try to make up my mind. I'm feeling very indecisive right now. I don't know. I found out as well that this is out of print. The speaking volumes version might be the only one available, and I did actually see the other covers that we get for the rest of the books in the series, and they, my friends, are even better than this one, if you can believe it. They're even better. I will put some here. I think they're just beautiful and you need to see them. So here's book 2. Who is that? What is that? Here's book 3. At the same time, I do want to show you the original 80s covers because they're actually quite nice. I am mourning what we have lost because I love the 80s covers. So Prince of the Godborn looks like this, which is nice. And then the second one, I think, looks even cooler because he becomes a vampire. But I think this one is really funny. So the fact that it's out of print does make me kind of want to hang on to it. But if there's a digital version, then that would be fine too. I'm sitting down to tell you that I finished Prince of the Godborn, but I just was crying a bunch before this because I just started crying because I was like, I love my cat so much. All 186 pages of it, and I don't know what to do. I'm just feeling so indecisive about this one. Realistically, am I ever gonna read this again? No. I think one of the things that did keep me reading and did like make me finish it was that I really enjoyed that it wasn't following the same formula that so many fantasy books nowadays like I read. I'm not really talking about the plot because of course this is very generic, like go out on a quest, find these 7 keys from these 7 sorcerers to unlock a gate that will unleash the savior of the world. Like it's nothing new there. I just really like in terms of the narrative decisions and the writing of it, a lot of it is just very not samey. Do you know what I mean? Like in, for example, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, where authors play it so safe in terms of the actual narrative choices, like in the language, in the pacing, in the plotting, in what is actually being said to create the story. I feel like Prince of the Godborn, maybe simply because it's from the 80s, was just doing things differently, and I enjoyed that. So ultimately we did end up meeting 2 of the sorcerers that we were supposed to meet, and there were a lot of cool ideas. I think overall as well there were a lot of cool ideas in this book. There were a lot of like questions about the Godborn that I wanted answers for. For example, the Godborn apparently are not, like, it's not legal for them to look in a mirror, even if it's just in the water, to see their own reflection. That's not allowed for them to do. And I'm like, why? Well, there was a lot I liked about this one. I finished it and I was like, oh snap, because the second book takes place in a winter world, in a wintry world, and they're going to find the sorcerer that lives way out all by himself in this like desolate winter landscape of ice and frost and snow. And I was like, of course it had to be, because that's my favorite thing. I'm kind of 50-50 right now, honestly. Like that's how indecisive I am. So I think because I don't want to make a decision on this right now, especially because I just finished it a few minutes ago, I'm gonna let it sit, and I think we are just gonna pick book number 3. I think I would probably rate it like a 3-star, but it's not a 3-star as in like a measly whatever, it's 3-star. I didn't really get anything out of it. It's like a all right, okay, 3 stars, there you go. I don't know, that book has really puzzled me. This really puzzled me. I can't put my finger on anything. Is this even untied? Can you see that? There we go. I can't make out what that says at all. Falling houses. Floating Hotel. Here's book number 3 is Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. Now, this I feel like wouldn't ordinarily be in the jar because number 1, I bought this hardcover, very excited to read it because it is about a hotel in space. I love hotels so much. However, many people have either commented or messaged me this book was not very good, so that's the only reason it's in the jar, is simply because of what I've heard other people say. Whether it's going to be true or not, I don't know. Welcome to the Grand Abiona Hotel, home of the finest food, the sweetest service, and the very best views the galaxy has to offer. All year round, it moves from planet to planet, system to system, pampering guests across the furthest reaches of the Milky Way. Why are there love poems in the lobby inbox? How many Imperial spies are currently on board? What is the true purpose of the Problem Solvers Conference? And perhaps most pertinently, who is driving the ship? At the center of these interweaving lives and interlocking mysteries stands Carl, one-time stowaway, long-time manager, and devoted caretaker to the hotel. I think it's ultimately about the hotel's like run down, or like people aren't really going there anymore. A hotel in space sounds so good to me. I just rolled out of bed. I have a coffee. You guys were right. This is not good. This is not good. I think I am 72 pages through, and I do not want to read another page of this. I think also with this book, I'm now understanding more why I was really kind of just like, there was a je ne sais quoi about Prince of the Godborn. And again, I think it comes down to authors playing it really safe with like their language and the way that they choose to scaffold chapters, scenes, narratives, the whole plot, because it's just really tired, frankly. And I find this in a lot of newer books as well, is that authors will just reuse the same formula in terms of sentences, word choice, little like themes, do you know what I mean, in sentences. Basically, they'll just say things the same way over and over and over again to the point where it becomes just kind of like trite, repeated motifs in the language itself. And I'm just like, this is not your language. This is a coat that you've put on because you've seen it worn by so many different books and used by so many different authors, but it's not like your words anymore. And maybe the same thing was occurring in the 80s, but because I'm not, you know, very familiar with fantasy from the 80s, I wasn't really dropping into that. But with books like The Adventures of Amina and now Floating Hotel, it's just like, these are not, like, you don't have to write like everyone else. I think I'm making a mountain of a molehill right now because it's not like that egregious. It's not like, you know, she let out a breath she hadn't known she'd been holding. It's not stuff like that over and over again, but it's just like not, it's just same. It's just the same, and I'm tired of it. I really am tired of it. First of all, this turned out to be a cozy sci-fi, and I did not know, for some reason, I didn't know when I bought this that this was a cozy sci-fi, like cozy fantasy. I didn't know, and I'm so sad about it because I probably would not have bought it if I had known that. It feels fake in that regards as well with like the coziness, because Floating Hotel is very much supposed to be centered at least around the Abiona Hotel, which is on a ship that like floats through space and docks at various planets, but it is supposed to be about the crew or the people working at the hotel and how they basically just represent a sense of found family, because each of them have come from backgrounds that were pretty difficult in different ways, and they have come to the hotel as stowaways or people looking to start a new life or people trying to find a family that they never had. And these things are cool, but I think, like, they're cool and good, they are, but I think when they're put into a formula for like the cozy genre, whatever whatever that has become to you, or whatever it has become in media, it feels so fake. That's what the genre has become, is like found family. And then when you try to force the elements of found family in your book to make it fit into the genre, or at least that's just what it's felt like to me with this one as well, and the other cozy fantasies I've read, it doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel nice to read. It feels annoying and grating as hell. So I thought this was going to be following Carl, because he was the guy mentioned in the synopsis who is the owner of the hotel. Similarly, he also came to the Abiona as a stowaway as a kid. I think this is where it probably fell apart the most for me, because almost every chapter of Floating Hotel we switch to a new crew member, so you never stay with the same person, you never stay with the same character, and it's almost like individual short stories within a narrative that is not holding itself together. Like, it's not cohesive, nothing is connecting, nothing is like gluing it all together. Like, we just switch and switch and switch, and I flip through and we never, like, I don't think we even get back to the same people. Each chapter is from, each chapter, even all the way to the end, is from a different person working at the hotel. And so you get about like 20 pages of this person's like childhood and backstory, and then their function in the hotel, and then we switch to a new character. I'm just like, what is the point of this? Like, what is this storytelling? I don't care. Like, I don't care. It just all feels fake and forced. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels fake and forced. I'm getting nothing out of this. I'm very annoyed. I'm like deeply annoyed. Maybe it's because I just woke up. Not really a morning person, but I'm trying to be, so maybe that's why. Maybe I figured out that maybe this is the best time to review books, is right when I roll out of bed, because I feel the most honest, the most brutal. I don't have the sugar coating in me right now. I feel like this is better though, like you guys warning me that maybe Floating Hotel wouldn't be so great or up my alley is better. Like, me having known that and me reading it in a video like this, where like I know in my mind the possibility that it could go badly, is much better than me just like picking it up as a book I was so hyped to read normally and not knowing. That's such crushing disappointment. Okay, that is book number 3 done, which means we do get to put some books on the shelf though, because Floating Hotel is 288 pages, and I think we had 37 pages left from The Adventures of Amina, so amazing. We can put some stuff back on the shelf. So 37 from our like carryover, and Floating Hotel being 288, we have 325 pages worth that we can put on the shelf. I think Pet Sematary was much longer than that. This one would be a nice short one, but I do wonder if there's anything in here that is like exactly 325 pages. That would be really funny. Oh, 367-ish. I think this Star Wars book is probably pretty over that. Yeah, 322. This one is very, very large. Ooh! This one, let's see. Guys, oh, I think we might have a winner because these are just the references. I don't think I want to count that. Okay. There's a big rearrange I have to do, however, because I have so many Star Wars books that need to go on, and I really want to make like a whole Star Wars mini shelf. So this one is 274 pages, so this one could also go on. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the Grand Glacier Hotel. I'm gonna try and take this off from Thrift Books, but this one is 274 pages, which leaves us with 50 pages overflow for the next book we unhaul, hopefully. And I ultimately picked this one because Floating Hotel came out of here, and this was my mini hotel section of like from The Shining onwards. These are all my hotel books, so I think the Grand Glacier Hotel should probably join them and just slot in where Floating Hotel was. I feel like these, because there is a little room on each, I feel like one of these could really easily be my Star Wars shelf, which I might end up doing when we maybe we should just rearrange the shelves in this video, because that would be like a big spring cleaning project. They're a bit messy. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I just sat down to try and pull like our next book out of the mug, and I like pulled at least 4 without, every time I pulled one I was just like, I do not want to read that, I do not want to read that, which is kind of like, I mean, that's the reason that at least some of the books are in here, because I have been putting them off simply because at this point in my life I don't feel pulled toward them to read them, or I'm just like, ugh, I do not want to read that right now, I'm not in the mood for that, but I feel like kind of in the mood ever for them. So I think what we're gonna do first, at least before we pull another book, is I'm gonna go through and clean and sort and maybe unhaul all by ourselves again some books off of here, because I don't really want to force myself to read something in this video. I feel like if I really have to force myself to read something in these episodes, maybe I should just unhaul it. I'm gonna make a decaf and then we will reevaluate our life. I've cleaned through my bookshelves and I found one book that I do want to part ways with. To be honest, it was one of the slips that I pulled out of the jar anyway, and when I pulled it out I was just like, nothing in me wants to read this, to be honest, which is a shame because I know so many people love this book. But the one that I am going to be parting ways with is The Story of a New Name, which is book 2 in the Neapolitan novels. I read My Brilliant Friend maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point now, and it was fine. It's just not really the kind of story or literature that I've been gravitating towards at all, and like the thought of having to read this, that's what I mean. I don't want to read a book where like the thought of having to read it is a chore or a task. Like I just want to enjoy, obviously my favorite hobby of all time, and The Story of a New Name, the second book, just does not, I just don't want to. I haven't been in the mood to read the second book in the series for like 5 years now, and I just don't think I ever will. I still do have another Elena Ferrante book on my shelf, which is The Days of Abandonment, which is slightly different subject matter. I don't know if I would like that more, but yeah, which does mean that we're gonna get a lot of pages to add to our count, which is so, oh my gosh, we're gonna get 471 pages of space to be able to free up and replace with 471 other pages, which is great. And then I ultimately decided to pick up one of the other books that I pulled out of the jar earlier, and when I pulled it out I was like, I don't know if I want to read it, I'm gonna give it a try. Could be an easy DNF. Guys, I like to give all the books I obviously pick up a decent enough run, a good enough chance, but oh my gosh, what in the TikTok slop is this? This is 5 Broken Blades by my Corland. I started the audiobook and I've been reading it a little bit here and there while I've been cleaning up, having lunch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm only 65. I'm only 65 pages through 5 Broken Blades. I've just been getting so annoyed in this episode over books, but like, genuinely, what is this? Genuinely, what is this? It's just like, this is objectively so bad. The other books I've read in this video so far, you know, taste differ, but with 5 Broken Blades, at least that much of the way through, this is like, it's slop. I don't want to be polite, but I feel like I should be polite. So anyway, the synopsis for this one is, first of all, the first line. It's the season for treason. The king of Yusan must die. The 5 most dangerous liars in the land have been mysteriously summoned to work together for a single objective, to kill the god king Jun. He has it coming. And now each of the 5 blades will come for him. Each has tasted bitterness, from the hired hitman seeking atonements, a lovely assassin who seeks freedom, or even the prince banished for his cruel crimes. None can resist the icy lure of vengeance. They can agree on murder, they can agree on treachery, but for these 5 killers, it's not enough to forge an alliance. To survive, they'll have to find a way to trust each other, but only one can take the crown. This is a book I would hate read. Like, this is a book that I would read through to completion if I wasn't just totally done with it, to just hate read it and be like, this is ridiculous how bad it is. This is so bad. Like, this is steaming hot piping. I'm so tired. So we follow 5 blades, or the 5 most notorious liars in the kingdom, and basically the chapters are sectioned so that it's like they're paired off. I think there's actually going to be 6 characters because we have like 2, 2, and 2, and so they're all working together. They all get the mysterious summons to somehow kill the king in the world. It's romance, I think, in each storyline. So literally each couple who's paired up together fall in love. The way that it is written is literally like, is this a middle grade? Like, it's written so poorly. The way that everything is described. The meadow is beautiful this time of year. I run my delicate, bejeweled hand over the tall grass. The green grass is lovely and soft, and yet at the same time hard and sharp, like me. You always think it's strange as well when we're in first person narratives, like each of their POVs are first person, and then the first person will like describe the way that they look to us, the reader, and I'm like, what is the situation? What is the setup here? Like, do you know that you're talking to the reader? My eyes are a cross between yellow and brown, but right now they look black as the stubble of my hair. At 5'10", 230 solid pounds, I haven't been vulnerable in years. It's very cold in Umbria. This city isn't much north of my own town of Pyong, but somehow it's way colder, and I hate the cold. This one girl's perspective is just insufferable. She is the pickpocket of our group of broken blades. That's like her skill, is being a thief, and I guess that's gonna help her steal the crown and kill the king. Ooh. Immediately when they see each other, most of these like couples are paired up, people just have like insta love all over the place. His voice has the rumbling of thunder, and I find myself following like lightning. But the innkeeper sneezes, and I'm reminded that this really isn't the time to be horny. Okay, so there's an old scar on his right hand, a deep wound and something that looks like a puncture mark. They're the hands of a fighter, a killer, the man I heard about. What happened there? I ask, pointing to the largest scar. Life, he says. My mouth drops open. That's such an awesome answer. I should tell you up front that I won't take a job if it involves hurting a girl. I blink. A girl? Do people ask you to do that? But you say no? He nods, just so smooth. But he means it. I like that he draws a line. He has principles and sticks to them. It's so hard to get through. I think this is YA. I thought it was adult, but I think it must be YA? Or maybe it is adult. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Listen, lady, maybe you don't know how this works, but I'm muscle for hire. A strong man. You give me the name of someone you want hurt, and I hurt him. That's it. I'm not a guardsmith. I don't protect no one. I hurt them. He mimes, snapping a bone in 2. Danger flashes in his eyes. Is it wrong that it's kind of hot? Where am I? I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I walked into the wrong room. I'm sorry. That's on me. They're coming for me. I'm in the wrong place, wrong time. It is so bad. It's just like the way the scenes are set up, describing every single thing. Like, I'm flipping to random pages. We make it halfway down the block. Do this, we do that. She plays with the color of her dress. He does that. He has a knife in his hand. Also, the amount of times the author is just not trusting us with any information. It'll be like, it's just so lazy as well. Like, all of it together is so goop, because someone will say something and then the narrator of the chapter will be like, oh, but then I remembered it was this day. Oh, but then I remembered that he wanted to do this. Oh, I thought that, but then I remembered that this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm assuming you can tell that I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm going to donate this. I'm going to yeet this so very far away from me. And we're gonna take it off the shelves and be able to put, again, something with a lot of pages back on, which is nice. But I kind of want to read this just to see how bad it gets, but I won't. 474 pages to go on the shelf. We've maybe just freed up a lot of space for my Star Wars shelf. I think what I'm gonna do is also pick the next book myself off of my shelves. I went through when I was cleaning them and just looking through them, and I did pick off a few more that aren't in the mug right now but could definitely be. So I think I'm just gonna pick one of them, and hopefully maybe the last book of this video we can just find a gem. That would be great. That would be really great. Before the day ends, I would like to find a gem. So with the 50 pages left over, and then with the 2 big books I just unhauled at almost like around 450 or 470 each, we're at 996 pages from the stack. I mean, this is just one of the stacks, guys, to get back onto the shelf. I think with those kind of, with, you know, that kind of number, I would really like to start building my little Star Wars shelf. I want to read Labyrinth of Evil really soon, but I do really want to see these 2 beautiful hardcovers find their way onto the shelf. So, oh my gosh, this one is so stunning. 425 pages, so we're gonna find a home for Revenge of the Sith, and then Heir to the Empire is 361 pages, so those will both fit on. And then Labyrinth of Evil is probably not going to make the cut, but maybe Verily A New Hope might be. Oh, what is this? What is this? Okay, there was a mysterious envelope in there. Interesting. 172 pages. I've lost count. I've lost track of the math, but we can at least put those 2 on, and then maybe something else, which will be good. So I think I would, yeah, I would like the Star Wars shelf to be one of these little cubbies. So we have a lot of room like here and here because we took 2 books out. This is because I have the prequel to Part of the Orange Tree, which I'm currently reading and loving. That's currently out because I'm reading it. It's huge. And then here we definitely have a lot of room. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. I don't know. Stop. Oh, this is making me so happy. This is making me so happy. I cannot wait to collect more Star Wars books and read them all. So far, I have just arranged them chronologically, and I'm so excited to read so many more. I really want to do a Star Wars reading vlog. I really do. Please let me know if there's anyone on this earth who would be interested in that. I would do it in a heartbeat. So anyway, I have rearranged my shelves. Some of them are not looking so like pretty anymore. Like oopsies, this one over here I gotta figure it out, but I did get a lot of my hardbacks together, which is really nice, so that's good. And yeah, I do have still some more space here, obviously, for some more Star Wars books, which is amazing, so. Good afternoon. I'm in much better spirits today because I'm finally reading a book just to get that last one off my mind. Oh my goodness. I did pick a book, like I said, off of my shelf, just like one that I thought I might enjoy, probably a better probability of me like actually enjoying it than the last book, but this is definitely one that I still have my eye on, me being like, when I finish that book, am I gonna keep it? Am I ever gonna want to read it again? I also thought that this book was part of a series. It is a manga, but it's not. It's just a standalone, which I think makes it so much better, and that is Taking Care of God. So this is based off of I think it's a short story by Cixin Liu, and the art in this one is by Jun Yokoyama. I really love The Three Body Problem. I still have only read, where is it? Oh, it's over here. Currently 107 pages through this one, and so far, so good. My shoulders are very, very burnt. In the beginning, I really wasn't sure if I was really in this one or not. I was thinking of DNFing it early on, actually, but it has reeled me back in. Basically, all of these aliens come down. In the beginning, they're just floating around in the atmosphere in these, like, ships, I guess, but eventually they all come down to Earth. They fall like meteors, and it turns out that they are people. They're all elderly people, and they are the progenitors of the human race. So now that we know like where we came from, like humanity knows where we came from, there's like an alien species that is like us. We're modeled after them. They have all aged and they're all quite elderly, and so Earth is like, we now need to take care of the people who made us. So basically each home, if you are able to, you get assigned a god or a creator or basically just an elderly person to take care of in their twilight years. Like, that's the whole reason that they've come to Earth, is to get taken care of by us, which is so beautiful. And I think like obviously more deeply than the manga and the story, it's such like a loving portrayal of elderly people in our society, and it really delves into the attitudes towards the elderly, what we feel towards them, how they're treated, how like obviously a very positive image of how they could be treated and should be treated and taken care of. It's really lovely so far. More specifically, we do follow this young girl who is having a really hard time in her life at school, with her family and her neighborhood. Her father's not around, and so she begins to form this relationship with the creator that gets assigned to her house. 100 pages in, the art style is honestly not my favorite in this one, but yeah, it's very sweet. I just don't know if when I finish this, depending on how it goes, the last manga I think we read for this video, like just I loved it and it's fantastic and it's on my shelf, and that's only one volume, but I just don't know if with Taking Care of God, when I finish it, if I'm gonna want to keep it around or clear it off to make room for something new. So I'm like halfway through this one, but I'm gonna go, I think, just finish the rest of this today with my iced coffee this afternoon. I've been reading this for a couple of days and I could just knock it out this afternoon, so that's what I'm gonna do, and then we'll see if we get to put one more book back on the shelf. It's done. I have finished Taking Care of God, and I don't really get it, to be honest. I'm a little bit confused. I think the adaptation to manga from the original story was maybe poorly done, and now I'm kind of curious to see what the actual story would be like, because it just kind of went, I don't know, guys. I don't know what this was. Like, I'm confused. I'm like, what's happening? Just kind of went off the rails after the last update, honestly, because yes, there's a time where people are taking initiative to take care of the progenitors, and then we see kind of the effects that like aliens, in a sense, coming to Earth obviously has on Earth, and like our day-to-day lives, what it looks like, more so the economy and all of that, which was interesting, which leads people to kind of turn against their creators a little bit. But then the like last quarter was just like, what is even going on? This felt incredibly rushed. It was like every other page we would just jump to a new scene and something would be happening. I just don't think this was a very good adaptation of the story, to be honest, because I don't know. I'm honestly so confused at what this ended up being. I'm very confused. If you have actually read the story itself, like not the manga, the story's taking care of God, let me know what you think, because I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, this was very disappointing in the end. I feel like I'm gonna just give this like a 2-star rating online, and I'm gonna unhaul it because I will not be picking this back up again. Like I said, it's only the one installment. Just bamboozled a little bit. I'm a little bit confused about what this is. So I guess we're gonna be able to, oh wait, how many pages did we have left? I don't remember how many pages we had left, but we're gonna be able to put something else back on, right? Taking Care of God was 201, 202, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207. Okay, so this was 207 pages long. So I need to go, I do not remember how much we had left, but we'll go do that. So yeah, I'm disappointed in this, but like, I guess we made quite a lot of progress in this video because I'm only gonna be keeping one book, and I did ultimately decide to keep Seven Citadels, or Prince of the Godborn by Geraldine Harris. I put it back on my shelf. I want to keep it. I want to keep it. And I feel like maybe some distant day I'll even get around to picking up book 2 in the series. I don't know. I've had time to think about it. I realized I really do like a lot about it. And I kind of want to just keep it on my shelf for now. So anyway, that's the last book in this video. It's book number 5. So let's go count up our page numbers. Okay, I have done some math. I've run the numbers. We had 37 pages left over from our last like 2 books that we got rid of, unhauled. We had 37 pages from that overflow after creating my little Star Wars shelf, and now getting rid of Taking Care of God, we have 242 pages to go on the shelf. So it'd be really fun if anything in this pile was exactly 242 pages. I do have another pile in my bedroom of books like this we can look through. Nope. Oh, 244. The Enchanted April was 244. No, it's longer. Maybe this one? Nope. Oh, okay, well this one is short enough. Anne of Ingleside, to be honest, I'm going to be reading this anyway, so it doesn't need to like get a place on the shelf right this way. And these guys, do you think these are 242 pages? Senek was the closest to 242, so I'm going to put this one on this shelf, and then this will be the last book on the shelf. Look at this guy. How much progress was actually made. There's a stack of books that we tackled in this video. We had 4 of these gifted to me, and then one of them that I bought myself. We read, I think, less than half of The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Yeah, I stand by this. I didn't love it. I didn't love The City of Brass. I wish I did. I really wish I did, because like I said, I was in the mood for like pirates, swashbuckling, the ocean. However, I am kind of having my fantasy wishes fulfilled right now, and like reading a wonderful fantasy book that also deals with a lot of the same themes of motherhood and women's history and writing women's history. And that is with Samantha Shannon, actually. So I'm having a really good time with that, but sadly the adventures just did not wow me. So we got to unhaul this one. Then we have the ever tintillating, ever confusing Prince of the Godborn by Geraldine Harris. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. If you're still watching years later, sometimes it takes me years to get to the books you've all sent me, because many of the ones behind me are still from you guys all those years ago. Thank you so much. But yeah, Prince of the Godborn. Weird cover, weird novel. I just kind of liked it. Something in it spoke to me in some weird way. I think as well, I've been thinking about it a little bit. When I was reading it, I realized that I was thinking like, I would love to write this in my own way, because there were a lot of cool things that were dealt with in here. Anyway, we read all of this, and this is the only book from the stack that we're going to be keeping, actually. We have the biggest heartbreak of the video, which was Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. This was the only book that I bought for myself from this stack, and I had really high hopes for this book. I thought this might be a new favorite, a 5-star. I love hotels. Sadly, I just found this like really gimmicky and yeah, just like facade, fake, just was not getting into it at all, and I was really, really upset. I thought this was going to be my science fiction Castle in the Clouds. It was not. It was not. That actually breaks my heart, but once again, thank you guys for warning me that maybe that was going to be the case. Then we have arguably the worst book of this video, just like objectively, and that's 5 Broken Blades by Corland. If I had finished this, and it still might at this point, but if I had finished this, this would have definitely gone on my worst books of the year video for 2026. Like, this was just... and that one is getting an unhaul as well. You've disappointed me for the last time. The last read of the video was Taking Care of God. This one was sent to me by the publisher. I still am kind of puzzling what to make of this. I read this whole thing. This is the only other book that we finished in this video. I read the whole thing, but I'm just kind of flabbergasted at the way it was handled. It felt like, even though this was only one installment, it probably should have been multiple because things were just raced over so quickly. I think this could have been, I mean, it probably is, right? Not that it could have been a cool story. I bet you it is. I bet the original is. So maybe I should go and track that down. But yeah, Taking Care of God, nah. Oh, and then the last book, I guess, that I did pull out of the jar to read, but I just decided I didn't want to do it. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people who've been advocating for the series and who love this book, but I just think the Neapolitan novels are ultimately not for me, which is fine. Like, that's just okay. It's just not my cup of tea to read. I'm not really gravitating towards literature like this, and I haven't been for a while. So we actually did unhaul 5 books in this video, but thank you to goodness to the person who suggested doing this like the way that you suggested it, by page number, because we did take 5 books off the shelves, but we actually put on 9 books. We put 9 books on these shelves behind me to take off 5 because we went by like page number, which is so fun. I really like this idea. I think it worked really well. Thank you so much for suggesting it. I think it's really funny as well that the books we pulled in this video were like super long ones for the page challenge, so that meant we got a lot more books on the shelf. So this time it worked. That's it. That's our Read It or Yeet It episode 7. You're left with the one and only Prince Karesh. I did not foresee this happening. The winner takes it all. The link is in the description box if you want to check Merit out. Thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly love this video series. I will try not to let so much time elapse before filming the next episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend some time here to hang out, to chill. I hope you got the recharge and the rest and the filling up of your battery bar that you needed, and I will send you on your way now. So until my next video, ciao.